How do you go from like jiu-jitsu champ going up 3 levels to essentially suicidal at that time?
I remember in this 2-week period of time, every single day started waking up more and more tired, more and more depressed. I was suicidal. I lost control of my inner voice, my inner narration. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and my entire nervous system just shut down, just a total collapse. So parasites thrive in acidic environments, and we are creating acidity everywhere you look. I keep going into parasite removal. I start removing hundreds of different worms, ropeworms, roundworms, tapeworms, liver flukes, all of these insane parasites that were in my system. Ayahuasca was really showing me how fucked up I am. I drank a teaspoon. I had like a near-death experience in the ceremony, not like a good near-death, and it was like I could have died that day.
All right, Josh, we'll just dive right into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so October 2013, you just smashed the championship.
Yeah.
What belt did you have at the time?
So I won the white belt worlds and then the blue belt Pan Ams, and then I won the purple belt Abu Dhabi trials.
And you stopped there, or you kept?
Yeah, I got sick. I kept competing for another 6 months or so after being sick, but yeah, I was never the same again.
So how do you go from like jiu-jitsu champ going up 3 levels to essentially suicidal at that time?
Yeah, it was like
that's a huge
it's a big jump.
And you're working out nonstop because get championship, like you got to be ready. You're training, I'm sure,
athlete.
Daily or every other day?
Every day, twice a day. Yeah, twice a day, prime athlete. And then basically October 2013, what seemed like overnight, but it was probably a gradual dip. I remember in this 2-week period of time, I just every single day started waking up more and more tired, more and more depressed. And within 2 or 3 weeks, I was suicidal. I lost control of my inner voice, my inner narration. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know which voice was mine, and couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, and my entire nervous system just shut down, just a total collapse. Yeah.
Did you end up getting bigger during that period of time, or just like you crawled like fatter?
Oh yeah, well,
because you weren't training.
Yeah, well, basically, one of the first things that I did was actually I started, like 4 months after not being able to figure out what was going on with me, I started taking a lot of pharmaceutical drugs because that was the first route. That was what my parents were telling me to do. So I was taking all 12 different kinds of medications. How
old are you at this time?
At that time, I was 23.
Okay, so you're still super young.
Super young, yeah. I have no idea what's going on to me, happening to me, yeah.
I've had similar health issues and just getting ran through the system fucking blows.
Yes.
So you find out October of 13. When did you get like your first real answer of, cool, you took pharmaceuticals, it didn't work. When did you finally like start figuring out what the hell was going on?
Well, after 6 months of taking these drugs, I flushed them down the toilet, which I don't recommend to anyone. It was really, really bad withdrawal, but I just knew that wasn't the answer. And I was scared that if I would slowly tirate off, that I wasn't going to actually quit, or I was going to try different ones.
Just cold turkey.
So I just cold turkey quit. At that point in time, I was probably on 3 or 4 different ones. I probably tried 10 or 12 over the course of 6 months. Basically one doesn't work, and then they say, oh, we'll try this one. And I'm just like, where's the math here? Where's the,
they're just throwing shit against the wall.
Just throwing, and hoping that it works, and hoping that the chemical imbalance is going to get solved in my brain. Like it didn't feel wholesome to me or real. So basically, after that, I learned about ayahuasca.
Okay.
And I was reading National Geographic articles. I heard Aubrey Marcus's podcast about ayahuasca.
I've read it. I've come close. I'm like,
yeah. And that's why I flushed them down the toilet, because you couldn't be on MAOIs, you couldn't be on antidepressants. So I just said, I'm going to go do this thing. I think it's ridiculous.
This country, or you left?
I left. I went to Peru.
So you went real.
I went straight. I kept getting more and more and more real. I started with like a center that was like in a couple hours away from the airport. And I did one ceremony this first time, and I left. It was so full on, and I was so sick that I couldn't handle it. And I actually flew home like 4 days later, and I went straight to a hospital because I felt like I was going crazy. But then I came out of that hospital, and I realized, wow, ayahuasca was really showing me how fucked up I am, right? And how.
So that was, not to cut you off. So when you essentially bailed out of Peru, it wasn't you necessarily felt like shit. It was everything was being faced in front of you.
Yes, and I think In hindsight, drinking ayahuasca with mercury poisoning is a horrific idea because I ended up finding out that I had mercury poisoning and Lyme disease.
Once you went to the hospital?
No, that was 3 years later. It took me 3 years to find out about having. I suffered for another 3 years after that.
So you're like 26, 27.
I was 27, 26 and a half. Yeah, when I finally started figuring out the answers. But that's after almost a year of drinking ayahuasca in total time. So 31 ceremonies on 3 separate visits. And the third visit,
I do not.
I lived. Yeah. So talk about deep in the Amazon. On the third visit, I lived in Cantamana in a tambo that was about a 30 or 40 minute walk into the jungle. You had to fly to like Iquitos and then Cantamana. I mean, we're talking desolate.
Like middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. It took me 30 minutes to have any human contact. I would have to walk just to see the shamans 30 minutes. And I stayed there for 30 days drinking ayahuasca 3-4 times a week. Yeah, that was the most absurd thing I've ever done in my life.
And this is before you found out about the mercury poisoning.
Correct.
So hindsight 2020, why do you feel like it was bad?
Drinking ayahuasca
while having mercury poisoning.
So the pure form of ayahuasca, I believe, is a beautiful spirit and really, really transformative for a human being. I think there's 2 things that are major issues in today's time. One is that the set and setting and the actual facilitator are connected to capitalism and greed and their own wounds and their own limitations. So it's kind of like the blind leading the blind, or you kind of just muddy up the waters of what was once an ancient practice. Like people do ayahuasca in LA all the time, right? Like,
I've heard about like Topanga.
Yeah, you go a couple streets over, there'll be an apartment serving ayahuasca. That's not the indigenous tradition, right? And so the other thing is that toxins are like morphing agents. Your antenna, right? This is like an antenna, this body. When you have a lot of toxins, you're getting a morphed signal from the plants. And so you may think something is God, you may think something is light, but there's a lot of manipulative forces in the ayahuasca world that can come in and convince you and seduce you. And I think with more toxins, you have a less ability to actually discern what is God, what are true lessons, and what is manipulation. And not only our own wounds do that, but toxins even make that worse.
Completely get it and understand. Mm-hmm. 3 years later, how the hell do we figure out we have mercury poisoning and Lyme?
Totally. So the first time I heard about mercury poisoning or like any sort of clinical like diagnoses for chronic illness was when I was in the Amazon. This woman next to me had mercury poisoning.
Someone from the States or something.
Random person from the States, beautiful woman, and she just started talking about this, and I was like, that sounds like a load of bullshit. This is how I was. I was very arrogant. And I just like mercury poisoning. How can mercury? It's definitely a spiritual emotional problem. This is the lens that I had after I left. I went to an extreme. I was in pharmaceuticals. Then I was like all in plant medicine and spirituality. So I couldn't really see that mercury could be doing that to me, even though I had mercury fillings. Right? I just didn't buy it. At that point in time, I thought I had a shamanic initiation or a spiritual crisis, and I was taking that route. And I was suffering every day in agony, panic attacks, anxiety, depression. Like I wasn't getting any better, by the way. So arrogant and not getting better.
You're like, this just sucks from everything.
I'm just going to keep going down this path, right? I mean, I had some decent reason to, because the shamans were encouraging me and they were very, very grounded people. And I felt like they understood me more than any of the Westerners.
You're literally in the middle of nowhere.
I'm in the middle of nowhere and I'm suffering immensely. So it's hard to relate to that level of suffering. So, you want any kind of solution and you have to choose a path, right? But anyway, that's when I first learned about it, thought it was bullshit. A couple months later, I ended up getting a test for mercury, and it was off the charts. It was a hair mineral tissue analysis, literally off the charts. The owner of the company, there was like Dr. Lawrence Wilson, he called me and he was like, dude, how do you feel? I was like, awful. I feel like I'm going to die every single day. I'm trying not to take my own life every single day.
Were you able to like live a normal life during this time period, or you were pretty much a hermit crab, no dating, no really going out, hanging out?
Dating, not even in the question. So I would say max capacity was to walk to the caddy. I was a caddy at a country club. That's how I paid for all the ayahuasca and all the medical bills and all of that. So I'd walk to the caddy yard, put my sunglasses on, carry 2 golf bags for 3.5 miles for the golf round, make $200, and then come home and just wouldn't speak to a soul. That was max capacity. Once I got really, really bad, I couldn't even leave my room. I would leave my room. I mean, sometimes I would pee in a bottle in my room because I was scared to see my mom. Sometimes I would, cook in like 3 minutes because I just didn't want to talk to anyone. My nervous system was so agitated. I would just cook in 3 minutes, put the food in a container, and run back into my room. And I'm like a 25-year-old grown jiu-jitsu world champion. Right?
Just sitting in your fucking room.
Like sitting in my room, just putting the TV on, or just panicking, or just going out into the woods and crying. I mean, it was just 24/7 suffering.
And social media wasn't really a thing to like.
I didn't have it.
Get you distracted back
Not
then.
at all. I didn't even have it at that point in time. Yeah, I didn't. I think I had a Facebook, but I never even looked at it.
So director of the clinic calls and says,
Yeah.
Josh, your shit's off the charts.
Yeah, I still didn't understand it or fully believe it at that point. It wasn't until I read a story from a woman named Connie Fox, who's a beautiful soul. Her story, she shared about mercury poisoning. And it was the first time in years of reading books, watching YouTube, trying to figure out what was wrong with me, that I felt like a click, like, oh my goodness, this woman went through what I'm going through. The level of description of the symptoms was really what got me.
Identical.
She would talk about how when she would close the cabinet doors, her brain would hurt. I never heard anyone explain it like that. If I closed the fridge, I would get almost like chills down my whole body. If talking hurt me. If someone made a gasping sound, I would literally, I was debilitated for like hours. It would change my nervous system. And so when you look at the Mad Hatter disease, I'm sure you've seen all of that, right? And so mercury just fries your neurons and your myelin sheath. And so it fries your nervous system. And so then I finally began to take it seriously. It was that moment, and I was 2 or 3 days away from going to Africa to do Iboga at that point in time when I found her story. I know, it sounds crazy, but I was desperate. I was desperate.
Iboga's no joke.
Iboga would have killed me. I was like 25 pounds underweight. I was throwing up.
You wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made it.
Here it basically debilitates you for that 24 hours.
Yes.
If you're lucky to make it to the bathroom, you crawl.
And that's how I was living. Yeah.
Okay, so you found out, now what?
At that point in time, I broke down in my mom's basement. I called my dad on the phone. I called my mom in the room, and I said, guys, no, at that point, no one was helping me. Everyone thought I was nuts. Everyone thought I was just, should go on pharmaceuticals. And I was just a lone wolf. And yeah, I broke down to them and I said, I am 2 days away from going to Africa. I already have my flight. I already paid the shaman. I don't think it's the right move. I think I figured out what's going on with me. And I showed them the story. I showed them the hair test, and they were confused, but they were going to lose their son. So they were paying attention. And at that point in time, I dove all into detoxification. And my first coach was Connie Fox. I had another doctor that I worked with in New Jersey. I had another guy named Alex Bloom that I was working with. And then from that point on, I just kept branching out into this field and working with the best people and coming up and with the best protocols for myself and putting these pieces together, and completely healed myself. I mean, 6 months later, I felt like I was landed back in my body for the first time in 4 years.
Did you have to remove the fillings?
Yes, that was step one.
Okay, so found a dentist.
Holistic dentist, step one, remove the fillings. Step two, I started taking mast cell stabilizers, binders, charcoals and clays and pectins and zeolites. Catch it all, right? And then I would start doing gut healing protocols because my gut was destroyed. I was eating I would have a greens juice and my gut would get distended by 2 or 3 inches because I was so inflamed because the mercury degrades everything, right? And then I can dive deep into every crevice of that
How
journey.
long did it take from the time you removed the fillings to going through the process to where you feel like your mercury levels got back to a safe level?
To be honest, I got back in my body without even touching the mercury problem, because the mercury problem creates a cascade of other symptoms that have to be handled first, which is the leaky gut, the mast cell activation issues, and malnutrition, and parasites. So all of those things I took care of first. My mercury didn't change except for like low-hanging fruit that was floating around in my gut. And I was like 50 to 60% better already.
That's before they even removed it.
No, that was before I even chelated any mercury.
Got it.
I healed in a miraculous way before chelating mercury. So to answer your question, I didn't even touch mercury in the first 6 months. I didn't even touch mercury in the first 9 or 12 months.
So you pulled the fillings and then Just working on everything else.
Working on restoring my body and restoring all the damage that had been done from the mercury, from the Lyme disease, and from all the other issues.
I saw in your story somewhere, during this 3-year process, you burned 150 grand.
Yeah, easily.
To get an answer that you found essentially in a book.
I found on a website.
Even worse.
I found on a website. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this point in time, I probably spent $2 million on my health. That was just the beginning.
Yeah, I'm just saying
Yeah.
150 grand just to find out, oh shit, this is the cause.
Yes. Yes. And that's the holistic world was a very different world back then. Like I didn't have Instagram blasting me with reels every single day of like, this is poison, this is poison. When I first found out about toxins, I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, fluoride.
Yeah,
all the...
I didn't buy into it. Then I started really looking at it and realizing, wait, everything I even wear is synthetic. Everything I do is synthetic chemicals, the soaps, the conditioners. Maybe there's something to this. And maybe this has a contributing factor to my ailments.
I had someone on the show a year or two ago, and they're like, oh, when you take a shower, you're essentially inhaling chlorine gas. I'm like,
yeah.
What the fuck do you mean? Like, it had never popped in my head. They're like, do you take a steamy shower? I'm like, sometimes. What's in the water? Kind of froze for a second, stared at him. I was like, but wait, I have whole home filtration. They're like, all right, you're better than most.
Yes.
But they're like, if you go to the gym or you go to the steam room at Equinox or wherever, do you think they have filtration on it? You're inhaling all those gases. So on one hand, you're doing all this healthy stuff for yourself. On the other hand, you're literally inhaling the stuff, which is even worse.
And pharmaceutical drugs and all different kinds of chemicals in there.
That's in the water.
Not only chlorine.
That people have dumped down the drain or whatever it might be.
Or pee it out. Those metabolites, they don't get broken down by the municipal water system.
No. And so, you know, if you live in an apartment building, I had one guest on, they're like, oh, just get a shower filter. I was like, oh, I didn't know those exist.
Yeah.
And just all these little things that people can do, but most people don't think about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just wild how far things have come since you finding about your sickness to now. And it's like, and look, depending on your algorithm, which you look on yours, ours are probably pretty similar, but other people, it's like, they never see half the stuff you and I see.
That's true. That's true. I think everyone sees it, but I didn't even realize there's other worlds out there.
Yeah, and even now they're like, wait, what do you mean, you know, home births or, you know, eating clean or...
Yeah.
Even the other day I was looking at body soap. I'm like, well, what happened to the old days of bars with like three ingredients? Now you have a pump bottle that's got all these different things in there. It's like, well, you got the plastics plus everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And no one really thinks about that stuff.
Yeah.
You get through this process, you start feeling normal again.
Yeah.
What's next?
I just keep diving into it. So that was 2016, mid 2016, or maybe mid to late. And I keep going. I keep going into parasite removal. I start removing hundreds of different worms.
Do you see the worms?
Absolutely. Rope worms, roundworms, tapeworms, liver flukes, all of these insane parasites that were in my system. I start chelating heavy metals, which is its own crazy journey.
Did that via IV or?
I did that via IV. I did that via rectal suppositories. I did that via liposomal supplements, via juices, cilantro, wheatgrass juice, wasabi. I did it via essential oils. I did it via bentonite clay baths, where I would take 15 pounds of bentonite clay and put it in a bath and sit there for an hour or 2 hours.
How do you get the clay out of the bath after?
You just pull it out or you let it go down the drain. If it's not too much clay, you can let it go down the drain and it actually cleans the tubes. If it's too much clay and it's too clunky, you just pull it out or drain the water. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's different techniques, but yeah, you can use like a little sift too. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass. The outdoor tubs are better if you're going to do that. But anyway, what else? I mean, dove deep into spiritual work, you know, and working on my traumas and my wounds. I thought I was doing deep spiritual work with ayahuasca.
Prior.
Yeah, I thought I was, but I realized spiritual work has to tether to the nervous system and you have to make changes on a nervous system level. And when your nervous system is fried, you can take in the best data, the best content, the best truths, but you don't actually get to change anything. So once I started calming down, I could change things. I could change the way I viewed the world. I could change the way I reacted. And that's when I started really doing a true spiritual work and working on my energy body. And there's all different kinds of crazy things there's noxious energies that people pick up along the way. When you're sick, it's not only the physical illness, there's also, you know, your energetic field can pick up things. And I had some nasty things in there that I had to clear, which is a whole other rabbit hole.
Whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Did you go back to ayahuasca once you
Never again. Never again. Never again. The last time I drank was a teaspoon. I was literally dying every single day in the Amazon, ready to quit every single day. And I said, I drank a teaspoon. I had like a near-death experience in the ceremony, not like a good near-death.
A bad one.
And it was like a genuine, I feel like I could have died that day. And me and the shamans looked at each other and we all said, no mas, no mas. Yeah.
That was it.
That was the line.
Have you gone down any other spiritual type stuff?
Yes, no substances since then. I never have taken a substance since then, but I've dove deep with certain meditation schools and third eye awakening techniques and schools that have training modalities on how to be grounded and how to help heal yourself and how to be real with yourself.
For the people that are on the fence about ayahuasca or combo or whatever it might be, you don't have to go that route. There's still other ways people can go without that crazy sickness feeling. Like,
yeah,
I did combo once.
Yeah.
Once was, fuck that.
Yeah. I did combo. I did combo 3 times. I don't agree with most of the way this stuff is being used. If you find a really high integrity shaman, someone who really holds an impeccable space, they're really beautiful tools. You do not need these tools. If you clean this vehicle, you just clean your colon. It's like doing a ceremony. You're going to have more clarity. You're going to have way more bandwidth to actually see truth.
I'm sure some people are going to get grossed out, but I know what you mean by it. But to the average person, what do you mean by clean your colon?
You have to remember that not everyone has done this for 10 years. So the colon is like a cesspool of old rotting fecal matter if you're a normal average American. We're talking about 7 to 15 pounds of fecal matter in a given person, at least 5 in an average person. Just old rotting fecal matter. Yes, its design is to remove everything, but you have all different kinds of crevices and stuff gets stuck, and also the liver too, but not fecal matter, but the liver is very congested in the average person. And so if you just do colon cleanses, even like juice fasting or clays or megadose enzyme cleanses or enemas or colonics, you could not eat for 7 days and you can defecate every single day for those 7 days. Where's that coming from, right? I did it in the jungle. I fasted for 14 days. I had a bowel movement for 10 of those 14 days. Where the heck is that coming from? Well, it's coming from the McDonald's I ate 15 years ago that nestled up in a corner, and then trauma and my nervous system prevented it from ever coming out, and I just took that on as my identity, right? And that just came into my system and locked in there, and then I added more walls into my being and more heaviness.
How many sessions do you think it takes for someone to empty their system?
I think everyone should do like 1 7-day, some sort of fast or cleanse or colon cleanse per year. I would say after, probably 3 of those in maybe the first year you do it 3 times, someone has a pretty good colon, clean colon, but you can also, over time, it depends on your eating habits. Like if I travel, I've just finished 3 months of traveling the world and I ate at tons of restaurants and, my colon definitely felt more blocked up. And then I got home and I went into my normal routines and I emptied it out again. But yeah, I would say multiple cleanses are needed, 3 at least.
In a year.
In a year, but also it's like an onion, because when you have trauma, you can do all these cleanses in a year, but if you don't actually calm down, you're not going to get into the really, really deep areas of the intestines. You have to calm down, you have to balance your nervous system, and then maybe a year later, you'd be ready for a deeper level of cleansing. So it's not just a function of amount of times, it's also of what a person is actually capable of releasing.
Yeah, where you're at peace as well.
Yeah, where you're what?
Where your peace is at.
Right.
Like internally.
Right.
Like you finding that center. And I think a lot of people just these days, between social media and a busy life, a lot of people are off center.
And everyone is.
Yeah.
Yeah. 99% of people.
99% are, and very few are aware of a lot of the stuff we're talking about today.
Yeah.
What led you to, I guess, then start Detox Dudes?
So I wrote a blog, and this guy posted it on his website and it went viral. The blog was just like, here's what just happened to me. Here's what I think is happening on the planet. And here's how you can solve it. And all the different things that I did. And it went viral, and I had my email address at the bottom. And it was just this like random Gmail account that I had. I wasn't even using email. I thought it was going to go nowhere. And I was getting like 20, 30 emails a day from all these people like, holy shit, this happened to me. And oh my God, you're helping me make sense of all of this. And I started coaching people for free. For about 60 days, I was just answering emails all day. Like I had a purpose. Didn't even matter that I didn't have any money. I was bankrupt. I actually filed for bankruptcy, by the way.
During this time
period. Yeah. I was completely tapped out. And so anyway, I realized after like, I don't know, 45, 60 days of this, I was like, I need to charge for this. Like I'm giving away tons of energy and valuable information. Let me just start charging. I'll create a business.
You know what it costs because you had to file for bankruptcy
Exactly.
after spending all that money.
Exactly. And so then, yeah, I did it. I was like, I talked with a friend. He's like, why don't you call it Detox Dudes? And I said, okay, that's a great idea. And then it's 10 years later now.
So what does Detox Dudes entail if someone finds it, jumps on it?
Basically, the mission is to help people awaken and to help people heal from chronic illnesses, from not feeling fulfilled, from feeling numb, from the low-grade depression, anxiety, and loneliness, and just shitstorm of emotions that most human beings are caught in. This is basically a way to clean the antenna, to connect to yourself, to connect to God, and to enhance your spiritual journey as well. And we take you through a journey of emotional work, but also gut healing and parasite killing and mucoid plaque removal and binding and chelation, liver cleansing.
This can all be done at home, or
It can all be done at home. Yeah,
you don't have to go to colonic places or IV clinics. Or...
I say, they say abs are made in the kitchen. I healed my broken brain in my bathroom. Enemas, suppositories, all different kinds of protocols, just shitting out my disease.
Spent a lot of time at home during this time.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, a lot of time on the toilet too.
You're like, solitary confinement does not faze me.
Yeah.
What do you wish more people knew about just the mold, the heavy metals, all this, the worms? Like, I was talking to someone the other day, and kids in school in Mexico drink some dewormer every month.
Yeah, like ivermectin or something like that?
Ish.
Yeah, okay.
But it's just kind of funny how different countries do this monthly.
Yes.
We do it never.
Never. We think it's a scam. We do it never. We say Western science will shit on it. In India, they're just, families that have their children doing deworming programs every month, at least twice a year.
And some people argue, hey, their water's different than ours, blah, 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 blah. What's your take on why they do it so often, and how come every country's healthier than us?
Right? And happier. Yeah, it's about the terrain. Parasites thrive in acidity. They thrive where there's death. So even if you look at nature, when you see a dead animal, within a couple of days, the terrain, what happens to that dead creature is just unbelievable, right? Parasites thrive in acidic environments, and we are creating acidity everywhere you look. From the Wi-Fi, the EMFs, all the different processed foods, the chemicals, there's massive acidity and toxicity. So the cells are not happy. The cells are tired. They're fatigued. The mitochondria are fatigued. So when the systems are down, parasites thrive. It's everywhere in nature, opportunistic organisms, right? So as a rebuttal to that, I would say, do a 30-day parasite cleanse, and if you don't see a worm, I will be shocked.
Do you have to like go fishing to find a worm?
It depends what you do. So there's a lot of parasite cleanse you could buy in a market, and I'm not saying that that's going to make you cause a worm. Like if you buy it at CVS or something, that's not the thorough. I'm talking about deep, thorough parasite cleansing. 50% of the time, you'll have to like see it in your stool with like a chopstick or something. The other 50% of the time, you'll be releasing what feels like you're going to the bathroom, like a number 2, but it's just mucus and worms and all different kinds of creatures when you do it thoroughly. So you can't even avoid it. You don't even have to dig in. You just see it right there at the top of the toilet.
I'm going to assume the average person that does it's probably going to get that experience.
I would say, 9 out of 10 of my clients have. I was just on Darren Olean's show yesterday. You know Darren Olean? He just has a Netflix show. He's a really amazing guy. And he just did the parasite cleanse, and he saw 3-foot tapeworms, 3-foot roundworms. This dude is like the picture perfect health. He's 60 years old, jacked.
Six-pack, all of it.
Six-pack, shredded, like super vibrant. His whole business is about health. He did a Netflix documentary about health. But he had parasites.
How's he feel now?
Amazing. Yeah.
I think I'd have a minor heart attack if I saw a 3-foot worm.
It's not easy to see. Yeah.
Do they move?
No, they're dead.
Okay.
There's electrical ways of killing them you can kill them. Well, there's electrical ways of removing parasites with like electron chargers where they actually can come out alive. I have not seen that in myself, but I have seen that in other clients.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good.
I agree. Yeah.
No. What do you say to like all the naysayers on Reddit that say, you're full of shit, all of this is full of shit?
I've been seeing that for 10 years. Yeah. Well, the first thing they usually say is that the liver is supposed to detox the body. The liver does that. You don't need any detox supplements. It's all a scam. I would say A lot of supplements are a scam. It's true. There's a lot of bullshit out there, but there's a lot of companies that have sole devotions on healing humanity, and these herbs and these adaptogens and these nutrients, they're life-changing, right? And we're missing them in our soils. We're missing them in our food supply. We're missing minerals. We are devoid of minerals, so we need to get them elsewhere. On the liver note, I would just say the liver, yes, it's true, but we have introduced 80,000 new chemicals in the last century, and our biology hasn't been able to catch up to that. You cannot catch up, human biology cannot catch up, evolution cannot catch up to that degree of an industrial revolution, of a chemical revolution. Everything most people put on their skin is chemicals. So yes, it's true the liver should do its job, but we are being inundated and it just doesn't have the capacity. And then I also just say to see for yourself, know for yourself, because ultimately I wish all these people just did a cleanse because they would just feel different.
What's something simple that won't break the bank that'll give someone like a quick instant light into, okay, it's working, to then want to go down the rabbit hole?
Two things I would say. One, depends on the definition of breaking the bank, but it's $200 enzyme cleanse from a Zen Cleanse. And it's a 1-day megadose enzyme cleanse where you release a ton of old fecal matter and plaque. Very, very powerful.
Staying home for this day?
You're staying home for that day. You're not eating, you're fasting. And it's the single most effective tool at like getting someone to convert into my world.
So $200, 1 day of stuck on your throne, and
yes.
Can you drink water?
Water and teas and the enzymes. The other thing is called a castor oil cleanse, which you do once or twice a month, which you drink like 2 tablespoons of castor oil. They do it in India. And
that stuff tastes
it's horrible. Mix it with lemon water and drink it first thing in the morning, and you'll go to the bathroom for about 6 hours.
6 hours?
6 hours, yeah. Like 10 times over the course of those 6 hours.
So you're not leaving the house again?
Correct.
And that'll cost you 50 cents?
Yeah, dollar. Yeah, $1. That's a powerful one. You will feel different. You will feel different with an empty colon.
Is there anything bad that can happen from taking this?
If you are a child or a small petite individual, 2 tablespoons can be really harsh. So you would start slower. It has a compound in it called ricin, which is toxic, but all parasite cleanses are toxic. That's why they kill the parasites.
Yeah, like B17 or any of those.
Exactly, the laetrile and the amygdalin, right? So I just took some actually. I went through a whole bottle. Yeah.
I took 3,000 milligrams.
Did you use Jay Moon's protocol? Okay, there we go. I just finished.
That shit is horrible.
I know.
He's like, Herx is coming. I'm like, what the fuck is Herx?
Yeah,
you'll know.
Yeah, that's the amygdalin protocol. That's an interesting one.
And that I get flack for from people who are like, it's toxic. I'm like,
yeah.
It is, but it's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
It is a little pricey for the average person.
Yeah. Castor oil's cheaper, and yes, so you can always get harmed depending on the dosage, and depending on your ailments. Like if someone is very, very frail, very, very weak, and their gut is, if they have IBS, going to the bathroom for 6 hours can stimulate them in the wrong way. So there's always risks, and you got to do your own research for sure. But those would be the two
simplest
intro
ones.
Simple tools.
Castor oil if you're on the budget. The enzyme one if you got $200 to burn.
Yes, and I would say the caveat is if you have IBS, IBD, Crohn's disease, these things are not the first thing you should do. You don't want to stimulate your bowel movements to that degree when you have that type of ailment.
You're going to increase the shit out of that inflammation.
Exactly. You need soothing ingredients. So I would say, yes, this is true, but not for those types of people. They need a different journey.
So when you wake up in the morning, what's your routine of drink water, drink castor oil? Like, what do you do every day that's a simple, without your crazy plan behind it?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit. Like I just bought a $20,000 vitamin D lamp. Like, and I bought a $25,000 biocharger, $20,000. So I have a lot of crazy things at my house. So forget about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Normal people stuff.
Normal people stuff. I would say waking up 32 ounces of salt lemon water, right? Quick meditation.
That's a lot of water. You're gonna pee all day.
With the salt, it's not so bad.
Not so bad?
Yeah, not so bad. You can put quinton in there and other minerals, silica. It's not so bad. And then you have a bowel movement, and then I usually just my diet is very important to me. No gluten.
Meat?
Yeah, tons of meat. Tons of meat, fruit, eggs, A2 dairy, and a ton of olive oil, ghee, butter.
Cook with all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I eat it like I just drink olive oil all day.
Sounds better than castor oil.
Yeah, much better. It won't give you any issue. Yeah.
You're not going to go to the bathroom.
Not from olive oil. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the benefits of drinking olive oil with?
Oh, super. I mean, antioxidants and the polyphenols and those fats are really, really nourishing. Brian Johnson has all different kinds of research on olive oil, how he gets like 30% of his calories from it. And
How much are you talking about drinking?
I take like two, probably a tablespoon 2 or 3 times a day.
Okay, I thought you were talking like a couple ounces.
No.
I'm sure this is overwhelming for most where we're already at.
Yeah. It's
As
hard
we
to
start
do.
to wrap, is there anything that like you would really push someone listening to this to say, hey, if you're feeling X, like you should start doing hair
Yeah.
tests, something?
Yeah, if you're not feeling well, and if you've tried the self-help, if you've tried meditating, and maybe you've tried psychedelics, you can't find a way to get out of your personal hell, I would just say to start learning about toxins, chemicals, and start learning about detoxification and remineralization. Because it's not only about removing this bad stuff, it's about bringing in good stuff. And one colon cleanse can change your perspective on all of this. This might all sound crazy, like bullshit or
Colon
woo-woo.
cleanse, like drinking the stuff or going to a place and having them?
No, like the Zen cleanse or the
Okay.
castor oil or even some enema protocols. That's probably too advanced for most
That's
people. Way too
yeah.
advanced. So I would just say everything you do to this body has an impact, and you are probably more sensitive than you might understand. And it's very important to treat this body like a temple. And I was suffering in unimaginable ways for 4 years, unimaginable mental torture on a moment-to-moment basis. I now have a wife, a child, a thriving business, just bought a house last week. My health is
Congrats.
in amazing shape. I travel the world every single year. I feel grounded, clear, alive, alert, and I did it through these processes that I'm talking about. So you don't have to go to the jungles, you don't have to do iboga, and you also don't need to just be a victim or your diagnoses does not have to define your life. This is a biological system, and we are out of balance as a human creature in general, and you have to learn how to come back into balance. And a lot of times these ailments just disappear.
2 more questions. How do you feel about drinking baking soda?
Like a teaspoon of it or half a teaspoon?
In water.
Yeah, I like it in short phases when someone is acidic. The problem is that you can degrade the stomach acids. So what you want to do is actually take liposomal baking soda. So there's baking soda that's encapsulated with fat.
Okay.
It's liposomal. My friend makes it. His name is Spencer from Remedy Link. And it's called bicardium, I think the name of the product is. It bypasses the stomach acids, and then it goes into the small intestine where it should be, alkaline.
And then can you take that daily?
You can take that daily.
Indefinitely?
Yes, but I always have a little bit of a problem with taking things that change the pH every single day for long periods of time, because there's got to be other things that are causing that. So you won't get to the root.
And I guess people got to do the pee strips or whatever to really figure
Exactly. He has the whole process there on his website.
Did you ever get back into jiu-jitsu after all of this?
Once a month.
Okay.
Once a month, open mats. I'll never be the same.
Never
be the same. The physical degradation I had, the 4 years of illness, and then I had a back injury at the end of that illness. Was all.
There's no way to get back.
There's no way to ever get back to who I was physically. Yeah, I feel way better in myself.
Feel way better, but
yeah.
to get tossed by another dude.
I would never go through that pain again. It was so bad for my body. I needed it for my mind, and I needed it in order to prove to myself who I was, or who I thought I was. But it's not good for the body.
No, I've thought about rolling, and I'm like,
it's
I've had
so
2
bad
back
for the
surgeries.
body.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to get thrown.
Horrible for the body.
Where can people find you, Josh?
At Joshua Macin on Instagram, Macin, and then also on Twitter, Josh Macin or Joshua Macin, I'm not even sure. And Detox Dudes is the name of the company. And I have a new YouTube channel, which is Joshua Macin as well. And I offer a lot of free information. So you can do all these things for very, very cheap. Look at all my information for free. You don't need to buy any of the courses or any of the coaching that we offer, and see for yourself. I tell everyone to see for themselves.
Once they become a believer, then.
Once they become a believer, they'll understand what I'm doing and say, okay, I'll give this guy some money.
Well, I appreciate you coming on
Yeah,
today, brother.
thank you, man. Yeah, appreciate it.